Good evening, everybody. And now I'm going to reveal what I'm dressed as to the rest of the team.
Hey!
How are
Is
we?
that?
Pinatucci!
Yeah, the best bit is the nose squeaks.
Oh my god!
But hey, everybody. Welcome to Pinatucci's. I'm here today to show you that we got some people here to play some Dungeons and Dragons. You can get my food. Oh, I'm done. I'm sorry. I can barely hear because this is now its own resonation chamber that I'm in. But hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elendor Chronicles, brought to you by the Component Cast. We are still using the slightly cut down crew, and because of that, we have only a few things that we need to cover today. But first, before we go through, let's before we get on with tonight's episode proper, let's cover up what's everybody dressed up as. Let's start with Lambert. I think it's obvious with you, but
I think I think of all of everyone, it is the most obvious. I'm playing Valymr, and I'm dressed up as Valymr.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's your actual beard that's
that is
right?
My beard.
Yeah.
That's commitment. That's commitment right there.
To the bit.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, the thing is, I modeled my actual facial hair on Valymr because I liked it so much. So it is what my ideal is. It's just a bit whiter than it should be.
Yeah, I'm having the issue that this nose is very painful because the thing that makes it squeak is just butted up against my nose. So
you want to talk about discomfort? You really want to talk about discomfort to me right now?
I mean, yeah.
Men SMH, y'all don't understand.
Ghibli, what have you come today on this happy Halloween-ish, Halloween week episode as?
Oh, hello. I am a very wealthy widow, and my husbands have died of questionable circumstances. I live in a manor with my 3 cats. They're all named Zedaar.
No other numbers? Like no delineation? They're all just the same name?
Zedaar, yes.
It's actually.
Is it just different emphases on the letters?
No, they're all criminals.
And Shane, you please tell us what you're dressed as, because right now I'm just my head is going, she is not complete, and that's her, like a nightmare episode of Doctor Who for me. So
Are you the Guardian?
Actually, I'm dressed as James from our party on the ship when we threw the ball when he first arrived, and he did the masquerade.
nice. Absolutely.
Masquerade James.
Masquerade James. But before we get on with tonight's episode, just a few things to cover as always. If you want to help us out, maybe consider becoming a Twitch sub or joining our Patreon. Patrons have give us the best share and allow us to do more things with our stuff. This is the really worst intro, but I'm trying to rush us on through anyway. And I've completely lost my place because I've got a nose crushing my face. You know what? I'm not gonna hold us off anymore. Let's get on with tonight's episode.
And are we
Don't
back?
worry.
Yeah,
Did we
are.
just
Passing out.
come back?
A
Oh,
nasal
no.
booth.
A nasal boo.
I've just grabbed the thing off my mic and I'm gonna shove that in there. Like, so basically, for those of you who don't know, this like I said, this makes noise, but like, look, it's just plastic sound maker on my face.
Oh no.
So like,
Your nose is already red.
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna just shove a load of. Yeah, that's. I'll find a different option in a minute. But who
That's
I
incredible.
didn't
Bit of
ask
gauze.
out of you three, who would like to do a recap this week?
I did it last week. As far as I'm
Okay.
concerned, my duties are done.
Well, we did a
Razor
lot
Roach.
of political and diplomatic. I don't even know the word for that. I'm lost.
Maneuverment.
So we spoke with the former ambassador Gwair Fainin. I hope I said that right. And he kind of fast tracked us up to Selena after we told him why we were there, what information we had, what we were hoping to gain out of the ceasefire, and when we revealed about the bioweapon, yeah, the shadow plague and the seals, he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we need to get you to the right people who will actually listen." And so we ended up taking a nice little trip through the forest and through some trees again, or some mushrooms, and we met some interesting creatures that are fairly rare, and stepped through the portal. Had a nice little meeting with Selena. Um, we finally were gaining some ground, it seemed, in the Elagian Empire with people who are willing to listen and bring the information we had up to the right people. So she agreed to invite us to the Winter Ball as her guests so that we may talk directly to her father, Elagian the Immortal, formerly known as Iolus. And after that, James did a little bit of work and research on the Shadow Plague because we were given use of the former Dr. Yop's lab. We had a lot of rope that helped us tie everything together and all these little details. So thank you, Zaraj, for bringing that along so I could have a good recap. And a little bit of intrigue was dropped from I can't think of their name right now. Oof, this is so bad. Faithrith, Commander Faithrith, had a little discussion with Valymr and Zaraj about Gourd. I think there might be a few little details that I might be missing, but I think that about sums it up. And they were off getting clothes and stuff so that we can get ready to go to the Winter Ball or the Solstice Ball.
Yeah. I think that gives us a good enough recap. You do get indeed your point of inspiration. We left off as your carriage pulled into the main gates of the Boral Palace, the Winter Palace in the heart of the Eladrin capital, with its many fanciful and brilliant structures in front of you. This place is absolutely huge, and we rejoin as your carriage is brought to a halt. The carriage in front of you is opened by guards, and the princess you are traveling with is presented, followed by the next carriage, and then you were in the third carriage. So time comes, guards open your carriage door, and you are allowed to dismount and join those progressing up the marbled steps to the main palace entrance. Is anyone doing anything in this particular moment, or are we just
I'm sauntering.
sauntering?
Yes, I'm sauntering. I've in my newfound hanging out with nobility, I've really taken to it, and I'm trying to be as fancy as possible. But it's like I'm not fancy, so it's coming off as very much like I'm playing pretend. Like I'm trying to very much swish my cape and my dress and everything, but it's just it's like like when a little girl dresses up and she's like all happy with her dress and she like twirls around with it and stuff. Like hee hee, look at me. That's what I'm doing.
It could get so it fills out.
Yeah. Just keep
Valymr
spinning in
teach
circles.
Valymr will teach you the proper etiquette on how to control your tail.
Oh, that's something I forgot to showcase. I have a tail.
Oh! Back of the chair. Can I give you an inspiration?
That's incredible.
He might use it against us. Be
No, never mind. No, you don't get one.
Yeah, we'll pass on that one.
Sorry, I completely
you can
forgot to
increase the
showcase
DC
my
of something
tail.
by 5.
It would have been better if one time during the night you just turned around and we just saw it randomly.
Oh, that's so
Surprise.
true, yeah. Damn. Oh well. Anyway, okay. So yeah, you can definitely saunter your way up the steps of the palace. I said Boral Palace. That's wrong. It's the Brumal Palace. But as you are met by an astounding feat of architecture as you climb these steps. These steps are probably 100 foot, like in terms of length that you're going to be climbing, but it doesn't go 100 foot high. It's like, very, very gradual steps. But in front of you is just a line of shining marble pillars, which have like ivied leaf-like patterns of like pure almost like blue gold. So like it's got the shine of gold and shimmer of gold, but it's like a crystalline blue, like carved and embossed up these pillars along the whole frontal fascia of this palace. And I think from where it looks like you seem to be going into one of like the ballrooms that was explained to you on the way over, as the ambassador was like, telling you various tales of the structure that you're about to go in. And as a reminder, this place is did I say it's something like 2,200 square feet, or something ridiculous. And
bigger than
You would want it to be bigger than that. That's like a 4-bedroom home.
like 200,000 square feet. Or
Yeah,
more.
there you
Well, it could
go.
have been square meters. I can't remember, not square feet.
Meters would make more sense.
Yeah. I had
Please
it listed
give
somewhere.
give the measurements to me in American
no,
imperial
sorry.
terms.
It's 2,200
Cheeseburgers.
acres. It's acres.
Okay, that makes more
Acres, that's
sense.
so much more. So
I was gonna
much
say,
like-
Versailles has 721,000 feet.
Damn, this dude lives in a
2,000
duplex.
acres.
All right.
Eladrin the Immortal, more like imagine,
Making the cutbacks.
Eladrin the.
Wallet.
So anyway, I'm gonna.
I have a
blame-
question
Yes.
about the architecture.
Yeah.
If I were to do a scale, like, just scope out the joint, do the windows, are they solid glass pane? Are they the kind that's no glass, but with just shutters that open? Just, just from my old time, being a robber, how, if I want to scope out the joint, how easy does it look?
It's a case where all of the windows are like glass paned, and each window is multiple stories high. It's like, yeah, you're clearly going to a ballroom. There might be easier ways in, but also you think it will take you a good 4 hours to even walk around this place. Like it's huge. Are you going to try and case out the joint, or are you just?
I just want to give it like a very, tourist in New York staring at the skyscrapers, but also keeping an eye on like egresses, how many chimneys are there, balconies, is there
Sure.
like a servant's quarters, like
Sure.
just easy ways in and out that, I could get to.
Sure. Okay. Give me a quick perception check as you do.
Well, I didn't roll well. I got a 10.
You feel like an expert thief could find
burglar.
ways into this palace because there are so many balconies, areas, troves. Like there's trellises on areas. Like it's from what you can see, but it's also once you climb up, you don't know where you'd be because this place is just also so huge. So you'd need more information as to what and where is about to receive you, kind of thing, before you'd have a grander idea of entrances and exits. Like I said, this place is like a Versailles level in terms of scope and size. But eventually, excuse me, I need to. Sudden coughing fit. I could mute it for stream, but not for you guys. I apologize.
That's the flour in the making of panettone pizzas.
Yeah, it's that asbestos flour. The eventually, once you reach the top of the steps and like this like raised area that the building is sat on plateaus, you do get a better like view of this enormous wing that you seem to be looking at, and this seems to be like one of the main ballrooms. And from what you can tell, like there's tables and chairs also on the outside. People are also walking around it. Some people are going straight into the building, others are going round. It looks like to be like a sort of a gated entrance towards some of the gardens. But you begin to, and it's one of those cases of everyone who's ahead of you in the line, as soon as they realize that the princess is behind them, they kind of step aside. So you're kind of following behind her a couple of ways. Like she's got her family and like closest entourage, and then you guys with the ambassador. And it's just like a small like train up these stairs. And finally you are greeted by the main doors to this sort of ballroom. Which again they're wooden, unlike all of the marble that you've seen so far, but they still hold that sort of lattice-like leaf pattern that's going through it. And as you enter into this wide open ballroom with curtains that are made to look like frozen leaves, like frozen ice leaves, but are made of fine like silks, and it patterns down on all the walls, like shrouding all of the window curtains. In front of you, there is a sculpture, an ice sculpture of a woman, who, if you make a quick perception check.
Is that for all of us?
Yeah. There's a lower DC though for you, Valymr.
Natural 20.
There is a like an ornate ice sculpture in the center of the room of a young Eladrin woman. Valymr, you would know this to be the Soliana, the one that was assassinated, of Eladrin the Immortal's children. But she's like, so it encapsulated in ice, and then below it is like various drinks that you can sort of pick up, like a welcoming drink, as well as being able to look at the beauty of the sculpture. And you start to see that there is peoples of all walks of Eladrin life just sort of mingling now, of noble life, should I say, but of various noble backgrounds, like sort of now mingling. And so there's like there's a small like string quartet in the corner of this room, but this doesn't even look to be the main ballroom. But the scope of it, you were thinking, okay, this is going to be where it. No, this is just the entrance. Oh, there's like, you were ready to be like, okay, this is where the event is happening, but no, this is purely the opening sort of thing.
Are people walking around with trays of food?
There's a few, yes.
I will always grab food whenever they are in my immediate general vicinity.
Okay. Just random. Okay. Let's see what you roll. Let's see what you get. Okay. Yes, it's like a little soft, like thin bread with what seems to be a small, like cut of some sort of river fish on it, and a little sort of couple of like berries on top of that.
This is good, but Ruby makes better fish bread.
Just everything you eat is Ruby makes better. You see as well, now that you've entered this room and people have picked up drinks, etc., that the princess in front of you kind of continues on towards the far end of this hall, heading towards another set of double doors.
We follow her.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay, you continue to follow. And it is then, once she gets to the second set of doors, that an individual kind of, who looks to be of the staff, but a higher level to them, if that makes sense, in the way that they're adorned, kind of bows at the princess as she enters, and then turns to the room turns to the room that you can't quite see into yet because it's like shaded by curtain, but you can tell that it's a bit more active than the room that you're currently in because there's a higher noise level coming from it, and also the lights seem to be brighter in there. He pokes his head through to this main room, and you can hear him announce that the princess has arrived, sort of thing. It's like the caller of the ball. You would assume. And with that, the curtains are widened and opened, and again you are met by this grand ballroom. This time the shape of it, instead of being a long like elongated hall, this one is slightly rundle and it has like widened rounded edges. There are probably about 300 couples dancing in the center of the room. That they pause as the princess enters, but then the music picks back up and they begin the dance again. There are people scattered around the side. There's various tables with like sculpture and food or drink on them, and then there's a balconied section above at the far end where it seems that another group of people are possibly of a different social stature, and this seems to be where the main element of the ball is happening. And it is then that the princess turns to everybody, and specifically you three, and says, I'm going to enjoy myself for a little while, and make more arrangements. Please enjoy the party, but don't get yourselves into too much trouble. And then she leaves. And I'm totally sorry, guys, but I'm going to have to lose the nose.
Yes, get rid of it if it's not comfy.
It's so uncomfortable. So now I'm just going to look really weird because I'm human face, but animal everything else.
Oh yeah, because an exposed brain wasn't already weird.
Look, I think the nose made it, but yeah, it was a little too much on the odd snoot.
It's all good, Finch. You had a mousy face anyway.
I'll just every
That's
now
not
and then,
true, Midge. You're very handsome.
I'll just every now and then like press it for effect.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you.
Just as a reminder. Okay.
I think Valymr would probably try and get a drink from somewhere, preferably alcoholic.
Okay.
These huge crowds like this, not something he was ever seeking out.
Mm-hmm.
Not really that comfortable.
Did Valymr get introduced? Were they like?
I'm not that high level. No.
No, you all kind of came in as part of the entourage of the princess.
So it's like.
So you didn't get your your own call in.
We are the
Valymr?
and co.
Would you like to back out, and I will let them know that we are entering, and then he can.
Oh, you know what? Under the radar seems like a pretty smooth move right now. Let's stay under there. radar. It's clearly something that Zep has created in the time that we've been away.
The type of dancing, is it like the courtly dancing where it's like couples, but then like, at a certain beat you switch off and now you go dance with the next person and now you go dance
Yes.
with the next person? And I was taught how to do this by people who are fancier than myself. So I think I would like to go hop in and attempt to, swing my partner around and round and see who I pair with. And if it's anyone interesting, maybe do some schmoozing because I'm so charismatic.
All I
Give
can
me a
think of
performance
is The
check.
Knight's Tale when they start playing like Golden Years.
Yeah, you were taught how to do this kind of dancing from
6.
Darius.
6. Okay.
Apparently not well from Darius.
Well, it's Rienian, so it's different. It's
It's a lot more
These are
stomping in the
elven
ending.
dances.
Okay, now roll me just a d20 for a luck check.
Oh boy.
Are you feeling lucky, punk?
Luck check 11.
Okay. You finally find a moment in the music to try and hop in, and you are paired with a sort of you'd say middling age elven gentleman, who just with sort of bluish black graying long hair, who
I don't speak Elvish. I
So
just
you don't.
realized my mistake. Now we have to interpretive dance to communicate.
He also just kind of, you begin to join in with the dance, and you're clearly sort of getting the wrong footing and not hitting the beat all the time. So he kind of, he politely keeps it going, but definitely scoffs when the partners change.
I will spin my way out of the dance
Okay.
floor. I'm embarrassed as I don't like this. And
Yep.
now I feel uncomfortable and I'm very self-conscious and I will just try to take up as little space as possible and find my friends because now I'm sad.
I will hand a drink over.
James, what are you doing?
Perusing, walking around, getting a cup of mulled wine if they have mulled wine.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a winter ball, so they definitely would.
I would just be kind of mulling about. I
With your
guess.
mulled wine.
What have you done to obfuscate how you look, or haven't you?
I'd be wearing very much a mask of sorts with deep wells so that it shades the eyes so that it's hard to see. And you'd have to be within kind of like a few feet maybe, or a foot or two, like conversational length, to really kind of look in and see that they're as red as they are.
And how are you wearing your hair down?
It would probably be in a. It would be the bottom back would be down with the top in a smaller braid.
Okay.
That kind of.
Ooh, half up, half down with the braid. Nice.
So
Yeah.
your ears would be showing.
Probably yeah.
Okay. You get some very, very curious looks as you wander, but nobody. But it's one of those things of people have kind of clocked that you're human, but they're also that opinion of, well, they're here. There's no way they wouldn't be here if they weren't important. So it's also become a thing of you've become an entity of mystery at this ball, which for some is quite exciting.
Ooh, how exotic. The undead.
Exotic
it's
for a human.
undead and a human. Oh, pray tell, fine fellow, where have you been?
Uh-oh, am I gonna get snuck away into some weird backdoor party
Who knows?
for oddities?
If
Dude,
you
I have the
want to.
gag balls and the muzzles if you need them.
Oh,
It's just. It's got a
Wrong party.
password, as they tell
party.
you.
I heard that that's what rich people do.
Please, the exceedingly.
I didn't want to go down to the dungeons, Raj. Jeez.
this is,
But
this
the
is an
other
overworld
dungeon.
party, not an underdark party.
James.
Yeah, this isn't that Dungeon and Dragons.
Yeah.
Make me a perception check as you walk around the room.
Alrighty. Ooh, nat 20.
Let's go.
Natural 20. Okay. I need to roll some things here.
Very well.
What, nat 20 for a total of?
Just 20. Flat 20.
Oh, you don't have any bonuses.
Nat 20 for a flat 20, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Still very good.
Mitch, you're apparently very quiet on stream.
I'm very quiet.
Mm.
Interesting. I will boost me up. It draws your attention, obviously, because this is when she enters. But when Solana the Black is announced and entered and her entourage enters, you see an individual in kind of half in like regal robes, half in like adorned armor, with they have like tied back red hair, feminine in look. They sort of almost brush past the princess, and it's one of those things of with the various like royals of the Eladrin Empire, you've noticed that in these kind of settings, at least with the princess that you walked in with, it's just like it's direct family and then a small group of guards like sort of buffering unless invited in. This person just kind of straight walks in, like subtly hands the princess something, and then beelines out, like no attention paid.
So a quick pass off just happened.
Yeah.
Okay. To the and that which
To Solana the
princess.
Black.
Lana. Okay. Vigorous red hair. Hands off. All right. I'm going to keep my eye on Solana to see where she goes to try and read that information or whatever got handed off to her, if it was something to be read, while trying to make my way over towards my group
Sure.
and to inform them. And I'd also like to try, I know this is a lot to keep track of, but if I could try and get a beat on Selena too, if she's still in the area, or does she take off?
Give me another perception check with this amount of things.
Okay. Because she would be the next person that I would like to go to after the party. So that's a flat 15.
So you see Selena walking up the staircase to that other above area. It's like one of the slightly curved staircase, and you can see her like walking up. Selena, by the way, I don't think I actually described it. She's in like a floor-length ball gown that trails slightly, and it's like an ice white with like silvered sparkles throughout it. The back like lattices into butterflies, and the bottom of it, like her hair, because her hair obviously trains into leaves. The back of the dress, like on the floor, trains into leaves, and as they brush over the steps, little like prestidigitated sparkles like leave it, like glitter. So she's climbing the staircase up, and it's Ghibli's reaction to the.
Oh, what I would not do for that dress.
And
The leaves,
then
by the way, are they like leaf color or what are they?
Her
Black and
hair.
white? Yeah,
The
both.
ones in her hair. So the ones they're both kind of the same color. Like it. The ones in her hair is like her hair colored, and it's like the ends of her hair turn to leaves.
Right.
Um,
But the leaves are the same color as the hair.
yeah, in the same way that Medusa's head snakes are all snake color.
Sure.
And yes, and these ones on the train of the dress are like silvered white, glittery, sparkly. You don't see, James, you don't see Solana read it. She, like, you see her clench her palm for a few seconds and then drop whatever it was.
Oh. In that case, does it just fall to the floor or disappear?
It does fall to the floor.
Okay. Then instead of going to my party, I'm gonna try and get it.
Okay.
Like, not obviously, but like kind of just walking around and maybe like accidentally kick it towards the wall and then be like, oh, what was that? And then pick it up.
Sure. After a few moments, Solana kind of takes her entourage and then starts heading for that staircase as well. Solana as well is in like a deep black dress with like similar like it's like a very sparkly ball gown dress, but the top torso area knits into a really refined plate body of armor that is of like a deep shining black, and then with one single and then it's like it's one of those slit dresses where it's like one sleeve is out, one sleeve is up. So one arm is out, but the other arm is sleeved into shoulder pauldron. The shoulder pauldron is formed in the like sort of shape of a winged swan, and the end of the wings are like golden gild, and it's like the only golden color. So it's like full black dress with this little golden gild. And then she's got like she has like a like there's like the sides of the black plate body are like gold banded armor, so it's just like gilded shoulder, gold bands at the side.
Question, can you please quit your job and design fashion for women? Because if you just gave that dress pockets and the other dress that you described before pockets, like I would spend all of my yearly income on that.
Pockets 1 inch deep.
Probably
Only.
wouldn't need
Sorry,
to.
can't do any better than that.
I wish I was better at drawing. That's all I'd say.
I was just engrossed by the description there, and then I looked at Ghibli. She's got her tongue hanging out.
I want.
Yeah, the way Ghibli just listened to my fashion descriptions is the way I look at Shadowheart. Like,
Oh, yeah, fair.
But yes,
Of course, you like Shadowheart.
of course.
In Thara, my beloved.
So if I could make it over there and pick that up, then I would do that and then head back to the party after that.
Sure.
But I would keep my hand gloved.
Sure.
I wouldn't want to touch the object directly yet.
That's okay. What you see is like a small sort of opalescent pebble about the size of a about that big, about yay big, like
Grape?
a bit bigger, and it's sort of like teardrop shaped.
Okay.
It's slightly warm to the touch, like almost like that there was power within it that's fading or faded.
Mhm.
And
I'll
it's
go-
dropped out of her hand, or
Yeah, it was passed off by a individual. I have the description, but I don't want to go over it. And they passed it off. It seemed like something happened, and then she dropped it. So, yeah, I'm gonna head back to the party with that, and I'm gonna ask Valymr if he could detect anything off of it.
I will see if I can detect anything off it then.
Yeah, I don't know, Valymr. So, Solana just had this handed off to her. This teardrop opal. It's has a slight residual magical warmth to it. I don't know what might have happened, but I don't want anything weird going on, so can you check this?
The only thing I'd have there would be detect magic. Can I try and detect magic on it?
Sure. What are the actions for that spell?
It's verbal somatic.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if casting a spell right here would be a good idea, Valymr. Maybe we should step off a little bit.
Yeah. I guess just pocket it for now then.
See if there's maybe a servant's closet or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I would like to find one of the waiters with one of the trays of food
Sure.
and pull them aside and these canapes are very good, but I am having a bit of a nervous breakdown. It's a little overstimulating right now. I just need is there a broom closet or a quiet place that I may just go and collect my thoughts? Here, please, for your troubles, and I will give them 10 gold pieces.
Is all the money you're giving to servants and stuff coming out of the 500?
No, I've already given the tribute gold away. This is my personal gold that I should not be held responsible for.
That's fine.
No one's here to hold your money anymore. Luckily, this person replies in common. Yes, madam. Right this way.
I must bring my servants, and I click to Valymr and James to follow me.
I'll bow as a servant. I get as a servant would, and follow along with that.
And this servant leads you to where it seems to be like just off of a hallway, just a small, currently unused little parlor room.
Well, I guess when inside, I'll detect magic on the little stone.
Use your detect magic, and you get this item was charged with the message cantrip. And it feels like when when activated, would have played a message before losing its charge.
I have no idea how to play that message again. It's just I can tell what it did.
I'll pull off my glove. Maybe there's a trace left. And I'll go ahead and try and touch it for a psychometry roll. See if there was any tragic message in it or whatnot.
Sure.
History. For a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. The object itself hasn't seen anything traumatic.
Okay. I'm not picking anything up off of it. Whatever the message was, it hopefully wasn't too bad. Shall we go back to the party? Do you think we should see if we can get a further audience up on that second platform?
Certainly we should try.
Yes, the only thing I would like to do before we leave, would we consider this urban because it's like a crowded ball area palace, even though it's not really a city?
I mean, didn't you consider it urban before? We did last week.
We counted the city
As urban.
but the so the Broomwall Palace is so big, it's kind of its own entity. So it will depend on the use case.
So I'm trying to use my primeval awareness. I can focus for 1 mile around me or 6 miles if it's my favored terrain. And I would be looking specifically for aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae fiends, and undead. Obviously, I know I'm surrounded by Eladrin, so I'd kind of like to, filter. I don't need to be pinged by every fae.
Otherwise, it would just be like fucking. So what's it called? You know when you
Yeah.
accidentally turn on an
Over
amplifier
stimulation.
with the guitar not plugged in properly. Oh, okay. Sure. I would say for this purposes, you would still technically be just about in the city. However, if you went into the great gardens and magical forest attached to the palace, probably not. But you're kind of in the first 2 rooms, so I'm gonna allow it for the 6 mile.
Okay, so for 6 miles, are there any? I don't know the location or number. I just know if it exists.
Mhm.
Are there any aberrations?
Yes.
Celestials?
Yes.
But there are aberrations.
Mhm.
Worrisome. Are there celestials?
Yes.
Are there dragons?
Yes.
I assume there are elementals. They're Ladrin. They're all elementally.
Are there any elementals? Not in 6 miles.
You said yes to dragons.
Yeah,
Yes.
what about fiends?
Fiends? No.
Undead?
We
James.
already established James doesn't count, so no.
Okay.
Reject
Guys,
that.
there are dragons at this part, well, within 6 miles, but that's very worrisome. If the entire nobility of the Eladrin Empire is in one spot, what if this were to be attacked? If I was trying to bring down an empire without using biological warfare, I would probably attack this ball.
Just a reminder, did you use this? This was the same thing that you used when we got to the city.
The previous city. Yes.
Was it not here?
No.
Okay, right. Okay, all right.
This
gonna say-
was, yeah, we had to travel here if this is different.
Yes, you've teleported to the other side of, basically from the far reach most southernmost tip of this continent to the very center of it again.
Right. Yeah, it was Umerion tier that you tried it
Mhm.
before. We
Can
need to
I-
go and tell Selena about this.
Can I insight if I would believe, I don't know if it's insight, you could tell me what check, but if I would believe that Eladrin the Immortal would count as the celestial that I'm sensing,
Give me a history check.
just because I did meet that celestial timey-wimey guy, and I'm starting to put together that, like, hey, maybe people that are considered gods are celestial. Well, I got a 12.
You've heard in various descriptions of like Eladrin society that there's like the standard sort of seasonal Eladrin that you've met that are Fae, but the noble Eladrin are often sometimes also called celestial Eladrin,
I see.
and he'd be considered one of them.
Eladrin wasn't born on this plane.
That too.
He would trigger that.
If we cannot get the audience right away, should we perhaps also look for, I don't know, the captain of the guard or some sort of secret service type of people?
Yeah. Can you remember? Did Faithrith come with us? Is he?
Faithrith is in your party, and so is the ambassador.
Okay.
Yep.
But I'm
But
guessing
But
they
not in
didn't-
my private broom closet.
I don't think
yeah.
they came into the broom closet
No.
with you. No, they're just off enjoying the party. But you know they were with you.
I think Selena or Faithrith we need to talk to, or the ambassador. All of them really.
Alrighty then. Well, Time to tell people bad news about their party.
Unless it's known. Unless there is some meeting going on. Or maybe, just like we saw in Ilithilia, maybe there's a captured dragon here.
I wonder because they should not. They're not on friendly terms with dragons, correct? Because they've
Right.
fought back against several dragon attacks.
The dragons have tried a few times and failed because it's kind of hard to hide here.
Or so they think. Okay, well, can we try to see if we can find Faithrith or the ambassador or our party?
You can find Faithrith pretty easily. They're kind of standing off to one side with a drink in their hand, kind of a hand on hilt of ceremonial sword, and kind of just looking at crowds, kind of like not overly interacting.
Faithrith, we need to talk.
Okay. What's up?
Follow us. I'm gonna bring him back to the parlor.
You take him back to the small side parlor.
So, within 6 miles of this location, there are dragons and aberrations and celestials, which apparently isn't a big deal, but kind of freaky. Do you know why dragons would be here?
Possibly the delegation from Atria.
Oh.
They have an ambassador in the city. He would be within 6 miles, if not at the party, the ball.
Aberration? Do you have a delegation from, I don't know, a flump?
Well, the
I met a flump one time. He beat me in a card game, but he was very good. Very cool.
there is.
How dare you insult?
There is a delegation from the Flump Cloud Council. Yes.
No, there's not. God damn it.
Ambassador Zorp.
No, that he owns the Emporium.
Oh, right.
I don't know if flumps are aberrations, but now
They
I'm
are
happy.
aberrations, and yes.
Ah, well, you are just so diverse here. A veritable melting pot of cultures and people. I
Flumps
love
are-
this place.
Well, thank you. Flumps are one of the few denizens of the Underdark that still pay homage up here every now and then.
I need to look up what a flump is.
You don't know what a flump is? Oh my
It's
gosh!
a creature
well,
that. Okay, Valymr, if you've never met a flump, please let me go try to find them. Would you be able to tell me, Faithrith, where we may find the flump ambassadors?
I'm from the Underdark, so Valymr would.
Valymr would know, probably.
Yeah, this is entirely a Lambert ignorance.
They're little floating fuzzy clouds that communicate via emotion.
Funny enough, the flump, all the flumps are getting drunk off their ass in the back room. Like they're party animals.
They're just waiting for the dungeon party to open.
Same.
just a flump down there listening to Rammstein, like just cloud banging.
Like when you
That's-
romance
I'm still
Gale
hearing
in
the thunder.
Baldur's Gate. Well, it
So I guess there was
appears
a bit of a
no
false
one.
alarm then.
Yeah, sorry everyone, not to freak anyone out.
No, obviously there being if the ambassador isn't here of either of those, it is a worry. But I mean, good that you're being vigilant. Yeah, flumps, to describe them, Lambert, they're like jellyfish with eye stalks that
Hmm.
sense emotion.
Yeah, no, I can see that. They're interesting looking fellas.
They're squishy, floaty friends, basically. They are like one of the few things from the Underdark, and I think the only thing in terms of aberration that is considered good.
You.
Which is a bit of an aberration in and of itself.
Faithruth, what do you think our chances are of getting to the VIP section? And I point to the other level where everyone started going.
I believe that's one of the things that Her Grace was going to be trying to sort out for you and I to progress up there. It's just checking in on other elements, security, her father's disposition right now, for example. This is obviously only the first day of the ball. It's kind of the main day of the ball, but the ball often will last 2 weeks for some here. But the royal family themselves don't attend to all of it. So it's also, she's got to try and navigate the politics and do enough so that maybe that you could have a more discreet meeting.
I understand. The bureaucratic grey tape.
Well, yes, that, and Solana really wants to control everything that's going on right now.
Get a feeling she doesn't really like us that much either.
No.
The tree people, the private tree people, are here at the castle in the garden, right? That's
There'll
what they
be
told
some-
us.
Yes. Yes, they'll be in the part of the gardens probably.
Question: Can I cast locate object on? See, I knew Gourd pretty well. Would he have had any sort of religious jewelry for like Bahamut that would not have turned into tree, or?
That would depend if he kept his items or not.
Can I
when
try?
They converted him. You can certainly try.
I imagine, if you don't mind, his hair stuff, his hair adornments and everything that was
His little
braided into his
beads,
hair.
yeah.
Yeah, that stuff I don't think would have gotten taken
Yeah,
out
they
during.
probably wouldn't have stripped him of that, no.
Um,
I'm trying to remember that, because the scene where we saw Gourd's conversion, I believe his objects were out on the desk in front of him.
so the
Including
last when
stone.
when he was strapped to the table, I think the only thing he was wearing was his gigai, I think it's called, if I remember correctly. And his that would be it. He wouldn't have been naked. He was strapped down. He summoned Gourd Stone at the last second. All of his
Locate object on that.
items were out on the table.
But yeah, give me a likely object. It's 1,000 feet, right?
It's yes, it is.
Okay.
Are you doing that once we're in the garden, or are you doing that in the broom closet?
I'd say
It lasts an hour. So
broom closet.
Oh,
Yeah, before we move out.
Servants, I need air. To the gardens, I say, as we walk to the gardens.
Commander Faithworth is still with us, correct?
Yeah.
Faithworth, do you mind coming with us to the gardens? I guess as somewhat of an escort. I don't know if we've been given full free reign yet.
No, sure. I'll come with you. Sure. I'll attend.
Also, it might look better that way. Instead of just the 3 random ambassadors from Ariane wandering off.
No, that's very true.
Well, shall we?
Okay. You are guided by Faiththrift to a side door of the main ballroom, which is open for fresh air, but you open up onto like a veranda kind of thing, because you're still kind of elevated above where the gardens would be. It's way too big to be called a balcony, so I think veranda's probably the better term. Like side to the building.
Patio?
It's kind of like a large patio kind of, that kind of vibe with steps down, and you see, now you actually see, because you're on the other side of the building, the scope of the gardens. It is like the actual gardens section is like multiple farm fields of sort of length, with like there's a hedge, like a large luxurious hedge maze. There's like fountains. There's like a bridle path and massive like coaching sort of path that's cutting through it, and straight down like a main sort of like Ferris way, like straight down the middle, with then winding paths off. There's a large lake as well in the center as well. And then on the outskirts and the far side of the lake, and sort of ringing from left to right, almost filling the horizon line of this epic garden, is this deep forest that almost looks darker than, because it's, at the time of your arrival, it's like late afternoon, about to turn to early evening. But you look at this this forest, and it looks like the forest itself is in nighttime. There is a twilight about it. And within the forest, you see little flickers and wisps of light of odd colors, unnatural colors, like bright reds, blues, flickers of like almost pure magic. And like you notice that the light from the sky around is like gradients towards this forest. And then in the center of this forest, and you can see this from Mars, and this could actually be seen as you were coming towards the city, a tree larger than all others, huge in nature, kind of canopying this entire forest, is just in that like fills the skyline in front of you, and behind it the speckles of like, it's like the forest itself is like it's like you're going from palace gardens, nice palace gardens, sort of slightly less kept palace gardens where it's just like more like palace grounds, into mystical forest in the background. Like that's the kind of vibe that it's giving off. You're muted, Valymr.
So this is like the colossal tree that you saw from the outskirts of the city?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, but just in case I didn't, there's a huge tree.
Zaraj, I do think even if we find Gourd right now,
Mm-hmm.
we should preferably try and get permission to...
Remember your presence, Valymr.
Gourd is here?
well, Faithriff is already aware.
Oh. When did that happen?
we accidentally had a tongue slip
Oh,
while
so
shopping.
this isn't the accidental tongue slip. It's already happened.
No, that already happened.
No, yes, I did. He's so quiet and creepy. Just sneaks up on you. No offense, Faithrith. You're very light on your feet.
I'm in plate mail.
Well, I don't have good ears, Faithrith.
Sounds
But
like a you problem.
here's what I'm thinking. I would like to cast Speak with Plants once we are. I want to talk to the big tree.
You want to try and get
Alright.
to the giant tree?
I mean, it's canopying over everything, right? Couldn't I just talk to one of the branches, or do I have to go to the?
Oh, it's canopying over the forest that is probably a good, like, 3 miles into the gardens.
Okay.
The canopy's probably like way up there.
Okay.
Like, you're on like a balcony looking out over the gardens, and then your entire horizon line is filled with this forest and then this giant tree and its canopy.
Did locate object ping anything?
Not yet. But, like, you've got 1,000 feet, which is about 300 meters of, like, room. So, like, you're not even... It's probably
Fraction of the
150
field.
meters before you even hit the gardens right now.
Okay.
You're kind of
Is
like...
anyone in the garden?
Oh, yeah.
Remember-
Yes, that's the thing. So there's carriage rides going down the bridle path and the carriageway. People riding on horses. There's also unicorns trotting about. Other denizens that are preferring to be outside. You actually look and there's like a couple of giant eagles like having a conversation with one another. Like stooped over there. You see tree ants as well moving about. Some of them seem to be working. Others seem to be more in attire of probably cultural significance. A lot of the larger entities that won't find it as comfortable directly in a ballroom are kind of outside as well. There's also seems to be like staff setting things up outside. There's also there's still servants going around both on this veranda and also down in the area. There's people sort of paddling in one of the large fountains as well, which kind of is like subtly glowing in moonlight. And there's also an area where deck chairs are being put out, or wooden chairs painted white being put out in front of a small stage and things. There's lots. This place is there's activities out here as well. And also now from here you can also see other elements of the building of the palace that you see. So you also see the large glass. The large glass pavilion building that is turned into an ice rink that I mentioned before. You see that's kind of to your right hand side. You see that, and you can see it as well. The thing is the glass is fracturing light from inside it, so you can see, and you just also it's one of those things of, even though you've got party noise behind you, you hear the dull noise from that area, so it's easy to grab your attention.
Maybe we have a stroll around in the garden then, just...
Yeah, I will still cast Speak with Plants because it lasts 10 minutes and it just lets me talk to any plants within 30 minutes of me.
30 minutes?
30 feet.
I mean 30 feet. Sorry.
Yeah,
10 minutes, 30 feet. And I'd like to just ask the plants, hey guys, how's it going?
Okay. A small conifer brushes as you go past and you're talking to it. The conifer says, "Have you got any water?"
Oh, yes, I do. I take my entire water skin and I pour it out for him. Are you not being watered enough?
No, I am, but I'm just thirsty.
Oh, totally understand. Hey, do you know, if there are any trees here by the name of Gourd? They're very, regal and brave and charming, perhaps?
No, I don't know, Gourd. They sound
Oh,
lovely, though.
they are. Um, are there any aspen trees?
Um, let's have a look. Yes, I think there would be.
That would be the tree I'm going to talk to because aspens are actually one organism that are all part of one root system and they actually all communicate with each other over a very large network. So I'm going to go to an aspen tree and I'm going to say,
Sure.
"Excuse me, pleasure to meet you, sirs and madams, all part of the aspen hive mind. In all of your branching wisdom, have you ever met a tree named Gourd?"
She did her homework.
I know a lot about aspens, baby.
This is
I
so
love
good.
trees. I love trees, man.
So good.
Okay.
Gourd turns into a tree, and she's like,
Echoed
know
in many
everything.
levels in your mind, you hear, I am Eufres, master of these woods. I know not a god, but I can ask my friends.
Please do. And here, some water for you. And I will take Valmyr's water skin, if he'll let me, and pour it on the one aspen in front of me.
Eufres is not sustained by your meager Thank you. Is there a bit of lemon in there? I'm tasting something citrusy. Eufres has found one named Gourd in the corruption. In the corruption of our natural state.
Where is this corruption and how can they purify it? I want to help.
You would be the one to prune the corruption.
As long as there is not like a union for the landscapers here, I know that they take that very seriously and I wouldn't want to step on anyone's toes. But yes.
So Raj, I believe all the landscapers here are treants and ents and such.
I wouldn't want to step on anyone's roots.
The shepherds. Ah, yes, the shepherds. The shepherds would try to stop you, for they are ordered to keep the corruption. But it is a crime against my... It's a crime against my very bark to exist in the same hallowed garden as such corruption.
Is the corruption causing black sappy bark? I'd like to basically describe the symptoms of the corrupted tree that we've already James has taken samples of.
Some are afflicted, others are corrupted of soul.
Oh, yeah, that's a little trickier. I will do my best. I'm not really a cleric or a druid, but if you could point me in the way of the corruption, is that part of the garden usually well traveled, or do people sort of leave it alone? Kind of the bad neighborhood of.
I have been pointing this entire time. Please make a perception check as you try to interpret the tree's direction.
Perception or insight?
Did the tree
Oh,
move
now
at
I-
all during this?
It's
competition?
it's a
21.
relatively windy day. The tree's been moving quite a lot.
So I just would like
Um,
to point out that aspens are known for their very trembly leaves, and when they shake it, all of their leaves look like glitter. Like it does like the sequin flash in the sun. And so
I'm still at the point of my life where I'm trying to comprehend that today I have just role-played a hive mind poplar tree dressed as a mind flayer brain rat for people on the internet, and I'm still trying to get over that. So
This is the culmination of all your life choices.
yeah
Yep.
and I'm trying to surmount the regret.
there should be no regrets. It's amazing.
You get the impression that they are pointing deeper into the gardens, past the hedge maze, kind of obfuscated from where you are.
And in terms of distance, does this look like something we could walk to and come back in a reasonable amount of time, or is this something I should come back to later so that we're not missing from the party for too long?
This, from what you
It's
see,
not like a 20-minute walk kind
it
of thing.
seems like it's shielded by the hedge maze.
Oh, so we'd have to go through a maze first.
Perhaps.
I've never done a hedge maze, you guys. I always wanted to so bad. I love mazes.
How tall are the hedges?
Tall enough that you can only just see the tops of some trees in a shielded garden the other side of them. So probably about 2 people high.
I could just ask the hedges which way to go.
I mean, you could, but do they really know what they are and what the maze is? I mean, if we want, we could have a little fun. I'll hover above the maze and let you guys know if you're hot or cold, and we can play a little game.
Oh, I would love. Faithrith, do you want to join us?
Sure, why not? I believe. I mean, I'm kind of interpreting from your half conversation with a tree that they're pointing you to the private sanctum, the entrance to which is within the hedge maze. I
feel like that
Don't
might be
think we'd be able to get in there.
Into the hedge
Oh.
maze or
Into the hedge maze
sanctum?
would be fine, but the sanctum.
We were
So-
told that that's where Gourd was.
We could get to the sanctum, but not in it.
It's it's gated. The hedge maze is built into the same hedge. The sanctum is walled, and the hedge maze is attached to that wall. It's a way of beautifying the gate to it. So, like, I got along one of the pathways in one of the walls. There is the door to the secret garden.
Well, I do not want to trespass anywhere I am unwelcome. So perhaps we just... Like, I just want to find a visual so I know how to get back to the hedge maze later, so I know I would be getting through that, you know. And then I want to just pat the hedges and just say, "Don't worry, little butties, I'll be back soon."
Okay. Are you going to recast Speak with Plants?
It lasts 10 minutes. Is it beyond 10 minutes of a walk?
Yes.
Then I will not recast it. I will just say that without casting it and just
Okay.
still send out good positive energy and speak
Positive
to my
energy to the-
plants.
You know whether you can find the hedge maze pretty easy. It's one of those things. There are party goers going in and out, and you also hear laughter within the hedge maze, etc. It is quite, Faithra says, it's quite a custom for nobles to get themselves lost in the hedge maze, if you catch my drift.
In a romantic way.
Or a murder way.
Quite.
Why
We
did you-
have very different takes on life, Valymr.
There were two inside everyone. There were two wolves.
They either want to fuck everything or kill everything.
Oh yes. Anyway, you feel like you could get to the entrance of the hedge maze quite easily. Getting
Well,
through it,
yeah.
however, would be more of an interesting challenge.
Right
We're
now we
here
have
for a
someone
few days.
really
You can be.
highborn that is vouching for us. So I feel like
I don't
not-
want to. No.
Yeah, not stepping on like the highest toes in the land is probably for the best.
Yes, I just was interested, but now I know where it is, and we know that there is a corruption there. Perhaps we can ask Selena about this as well, because, you know, bad corruption roots garden just seems not okay.
Yeah.
And maybe James can help.
Okay. So, are you going to explore the garden more, or are you going to return to the party? Are you going to go check out one of the other mini buildings?
Can we ask Faithrith what other like elements there are to the party? Obviously, there's the garden area. There's the main party area. Is there any
Ice
other,
rink?
like, types of entertainment going on in the ball?
I mean, there's like, Faith really explained. So there's like several ballrooms. Like the one that you were just in beforehand was the Royal Ballroom. It's kind of the main ballroom. Then there's ice skating, obviously in the crystal in like the Crystal Palace. I keep forgetting what that room's called. The glass. Oh, it's called the Royal Bandstand. Is where the glass elongated music hall that's been turned into an ice rink. He says it's not open today, but tomorrow a new production is opening at the Royal Opera House. There are various. He's just like looking at. He's got like an itinerary. It's just like. There's fireworks later tonight. There's. It's just like there's in the lake there's sailing, and later on there is a performance by the water guppies.
Not interested in that one.
Okay,
You don't want to see the water guppies? I, for one, am very interested. Are they synchronized swimmers?
It's kind of there's dryad dancing happening on the third lawn. What's it? There's eagle flights.
I'm sorry, eagle flights?
Yes, eagle flights.
Like you ride an eagle?
As in, the High King of the Giant Eagles has donated some of his royal guard to provide people with single-person, dual-person flights around the city.
Yes.
I will do that.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. So, it's happening on the. Oh, that's in the. Okay, follow me. He leads you like through the gardens. There's essentially taken to an area where there is like these. It's like a group of about 30 giant eagles in like regal armor in areas of like just elements of their body. Like so, it's like they've got kind of like eagle like pauldrons over the corners of their wings, and a small like hauberk like breastplate sort of thing with like this like pattern inspired on sort of like it's like a kind of like this is gonna Space Marine like the wings. It's kind of
Aquila.
that, but like like the Space Marine Aquila, but kind of like It's that, but there's like a large beak in the center of it that also then turns into like the central ridge of the breastplate that covers their breast. And then they've got like hats on of like the kind of like beret like but bigger, like a Landscanek hat, but like slightly smaller. Yeah, so it's kind of somewhere between that and a beret. And they're kind of regally standing.
Regal Eagles.
Regal Eagles. In like, and then there's like servants helping people onto the various eagles.
One eagle ride, please.
Make that 2.
Would you like to share, or are you looking to take up your own adventure?
Up to you.
I think we should take our own and
Dogfight.
Yes. Oh my God. No. We should try to get our. We would have discussed this before we got there, but we should take our eagles and try to fly over different parts of the garden and see if we can't,
Oh yeah, because I've still got an hour of. Well, I would.
We'll just get a bird's eye view of the maze, and then we just draw how to get there.
Siraj, I literally said I could fly above the maze and play hot or cold on the direction you all need to take.
Yes, and that will be very helpful. Unfortunately, I need to see where Gourd is and what the corruption looks like as well. So we don't have to draw the map. That's fine. I don't really want to fly on an eagle because I'm scared, but Gourd is somewhere in here, and maybe I can make my eagle.
Okay.
What language does the eagle speak?
These ones speak Elven.
Shit.
Elven, Sylvan, Giant Eagle. Zraj, you are informed that the eagle that you are flying on is named Arbros. And Valymr, yours is called Skysander.
Skysander. It's a better name.
For my list. And you take them up. They are seemingly flying a set path. As the flight that you are on, you can see like another flight further in the distance, kind of thing, and also like I'd say Zeraj, your eagle takes off first, and then like Valymr, you are like sort of off on its wing.
Can I ask my eagle in Sylvan and say that I was just in the maze, but I got horribly lost? Do you mind if we have a flight over the maze so that I can get a bird's eye view? And that might have been actually pretty insensitive to say that word, but get a view from above, so maybe next time I go in the maze I won't get lost.
Give me a persuasion check.
Get a more regal view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Persuasion, you said.
Yes.
How would a 29 from a natural 20 work?
With that, the eagle falls out of formation and dives down back towards the party and just kind of buzzes over the maze. Valymr, give me a perception check. Low DC. Well, varying DC depending on how much information I give.
23.
Valymr has never rolled this well in his
Valymr,
life.
You're studying the path of the maze, and then suddenly you see the bushes all start to shimmer as the pattern of the maze changes.
Son of a
and
bitch!
The paths change.
That's why I got lost.
The eagle kind of chuckles. This is, yes, it caught our commander out one time. He ended up flying above and skipping straight to the central area, and then he kind of like glides past. And in the middle, there's like an area with like a viewing platform where you can sit and look over the maze. But The next thing you notice is that the area deemed the secret garden, you can't look into it. Even though on the ground you could see that there was trees, from the air there's like a misty haze that just obscures all vision in. And the haze has like a dreamlike ichor to it. It's like light is refracting slightly weird, and kind of it's like looking into the reflection of a pond. It's like
A
echoing,
mirage? Is it like a heat wave mirage?
Yeah.
Kind of like
but thicker. It's almost like dropping a pebble into water.
Mhm.
I can't speak to my eagle, but can I try to nudge it with my
to follow.
yeah, like my,
Wait,
just
wait, you took off first though, didn't you?
yes. And this isn't going to help, but I have a proficiency with land vehicles, which is not a sky vehicle, which would have been really helpful for
It's
the
also not a
Skyfire.
vehicle. This is a sentient creature with a name.
Okay, but like just knowing
do
how to
not
like
identify
lean
as
my
attack
body,
helicopter.
like like when you're riding a motorcycle and you gotta like lean into the turns and
Yes.
stuff. I'm trying to
I
do
will
that
let
with
you
my
make a
eagle.
persuasion check at disadvantage. Where are you trying to go as well?
I want to go into the secret garden, swirly air.
Oh, okay.
Persuasion disadvantage.
Yes.
Not an animal handling check.
I'll allow our animal handling.
Thanks, DM. You're very generous. With the disadvantage, it's a 12.
Okay. It doesn't. It doesn't follow.
No,
your order.
damn it.
It doesn't.
Do I
follow
get
your-
kind of close at all?
You can see it, but you're going sort of like northwards, and it's like off to your east.
About how far off to my east?
How high are you gonna be going right now?
Is it within 240 feet? Actually, plus another 60. So 300 feet.
Possibly, right on the cusp of it. At least the hedgerow of it would be.
The party would be really mad if I did this, but I feel like I would because of Gourd.
Jump off the eagle.
Yeah, drink my potion
thought you were-
of feather falling, and then I'm going to pop my ethereal plane to like just slow myself down. I'm gonna use all of my like speed buffs if I can to be able to like angle my way and run down, and then also at the last little bitties, I'd like to misty step into it. So that would give me 300 feet of movement. Technically, it's not falling or flying, so I don't know if you would allow that or if it would be like angling myself like a
Yeah, this is gonna need some
Skydiver.
rolls. First of all, make me an acrobatics check
gladly.
to try and position yourself correctly for all of this.
24.
Okay. You start aiming yourself and you start ethereally jaunting your way down. Do you have fly or feather fall? Did you say?
I have a potion of featherfall that Valymr
Okay.
gave me for the Skyfire that I would like to like,
Okay, sure, which
Yeah.
slows your fall rate.
Did you give back Zep's boots of levitation?
I did. I'm not wearing them to this fancy party. I feel like it would be like wearing Uggs to like a dinner party. It would just not be appropriate.
People do it though. People do
People
it.
Well,
do it. Definitely
I'm-
around here, they don't.
Weird.
I
Ah.
was told what to dress in.
No,
I allowed my
it would not
stylist
fit
to
you.
dress me.
Okay. So, Ziraj, you begin to careen towards the ground, towards the hedge, towards this mist. You theoretically and trying to slow you fall, and you feel like you're on target, but you cannot see through this mist as it's coming towards you. Almost like it looks like a solid object at this point.
Yeah. That's gonna be tough. Well, actually, in the
Please.
ethereal plane, is it still on when I'm in the ethereal plane? Do I still see that barrier?
Yes.
Oh boy.
You
think,
do. Zedaar.
Okay.
As you hit the mist, you find yourself in a meadow. It is neither daytime nor nighttime, but an ichor of twilight. The grass is lush and warm, and you find yourself on your back looking up towards the stars again, which don't fill the sky, just a swirl, a menagerie of color. You look around you, and it is like you can't tell what time of day it is, and you're certainly not at the palace anymore.
I stand up. I brush myself off because I'm wearing my fancy clothes. I will cast protection from evil and good on myself,
Yep,
which lasts 10 minutes.
sure thing.
And I will. I don't have any way of letting Valymr or James know that I did this. So I'm going to use my Snapstone. I'm not going to use my Snapstone. Actually, I don't want them to trace my call.
One more
I'm
thing.
just.
Roll
Yes.
me a D100, please.
Brick.
Uh-oh. Where did Zeraj go?
Yeah, I can do that.
Valymr, make me a perception check as well, because you might have just about caught this from where you're flying.
I don't know how to do that, so I'm gonna roll
slash-
2 d10s.
Oh no, /die D100.
Oh.
It's
Slash
very, it's
die.
very aggressive.
I'm gonna use a point of luck.
Sure.
84.
Dirty 20.
84. What's an 84 on the wild magic table?
Oh, this is the thing
Uh-oh.
that killed me, remember?
No,
a
that was a
ward.
different thing. Okay. Each
I hope
creature
it makes me
within-
summon a flump.
No, with each creature within 30 feet of you takes 1d10 necrotic damage, and you regain hit points equal to the sum of that necrotic damage dealt. Were you missing any hit points? I don't think so.
Nope.
Okay. But you
Unless-
just see like this, like undead tendril like suck towards you from this like this tree that you're relatively near, and a bush over to your right.
Those really need to be watered now.
So Raj, you're an expert in planes and portals and that kind of thing. I will allow you to make either a history or an arcana check to try and work out where you might be.
I'm very good at neither of those. I shall roll the dice arcana. Oh boy. 5.
You're certainly not at the palace anymore.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, it's like there was a maze. You thought you were going to land in like a secret garden in the maze, and currently you're in a relatively open plain in a place where you don't see any astral bodies. It's kind of somewhere between dawn and dusk constantly. It feels warmer than where you were as well, because obviously it was winter where you left off.
So, yeah.
Did I
very
see her do
What did you
dumb
roll?
things with a dirty 20?
Dirty 20, at the very cusp of her teleportation, you saw like a shape that looked like Zeraj hit the mist and then just disappear.
I am going to ask Skysander if he saw that.
See what?
somebody just fell off a bird and into the mist.
Oh no.
What do you
Okay.
mean? Oh no.
Well, we'll have to send someone in there to get her. Them. It might take a few years. Or days. Depending.
What do you mean? Where does that go?
Oh!
Hmm.
The Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
If the eagle understands undercommon, it will know that I just said, "Oh, for fuck's sake."
It is a protective barrier to protect the secret garden.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We should land and let somebody know.
I will return to the I will return to the flying point, and I'll let my captain know.
Okay.
So, Commander Faithrith,
Yes, James. What are you doing at this point?
do you mind coming over here and just elaborating a little bit on what my companions have, well, I guess, spoken to you about, or spoken to each other in front of you about?
Mm-hmm. Where do I begin? A lot of things that I don't think they necessarily thought I was there for, but turns out your friends are friends of an old friend of mine.
Is that so?
An acquaintance, yes. We worked together for a while in the diplomatic corps. I
That's
was
interesting.
inquiring as to how they were, but they seem to be lost. In fact, they mentioned that he's here, which surprised me, because last I heard he was in a Legrungsland prison.
And your friend's name is?
Gourd.
Oh, their former. Oh, the person I kind of stepped in for, I guess, is the best way to say it.
It seems that way, yes.
Oh, you don't. So you don't know. Okay, well, from my understanding, I was originally brought on to kind of help, I guess, get him back from this prison you spoke of. But we found out that he had been brought in and placed under the process of becoming a tree, as some traitors are held, sentenced to. And he was then bought and placed in the, what we believe to be the Royal Garden's private sanctum.
There's a look of realization on Faithrith's. Like, wait, you know that moment where you just, like, suddenly someone's eye movements move as, like, they are putting two and two together? It's just a heavy... Oh, no. That's quite disturbing news.
I'm sorry to be the bearer of it.
Well, that would explain a lot of what they've been talking about with getting him back, etc. And,
Yes.
well, I'll pretend I heard nothing of it.
That would be most appreciated. Now, do you suppose, like, how does one get invited into that private garden? Is that something that is just reserved for the members of the royal family, or...
Yes, pretty much.
mean-
It's Eladrin the Immortal's private sanctum.
Oh,
Only him, his wife, have the key to the door. You have to be invited in under proper invite.
so it must be, heavily protected by some pretty extensive magics, right? And
Oh, very
sorts of
much so.
things.
Yes.
Two of them have the key. That's...
Yes, that and the hedge maze tends to. You can never go through it the same.
It's shifting.
Once. It shifts, yes.
Wow, that's magnificent.
Hmm.
I love the connection with the natural surroundings here and how it seems like you are in a syntropic bond with it. You're giving to each other
Well-
and never truly depleting each other or taking all of one's essence.
Well, the forest that's attached to the end of the gardens here is one of the most sacred places left on this plane to our people. It is one of the last true forests. This, like the deep dark forest of the Great North, this is a remaining element of it. It's one of the only areas with gosh, what's the name of the tree? He points at the large trees, which is, forgive the pun, the root of a lot of natural power to this world. As far as we believe, anyway. So it means a lot.
Oh, okay. So it's like a world tree. It's like it's heart almost, a part of it maybe.
Yes, and the wood, like the magical wood, is kept as naturally as possible.
Awesome. That's really interesting. There was one more question, but it looks like Valymr is on his way back. Maybe you'll have time to explain before he lands. You said that it's Eladrin's private sanctum.
Correct.
Do you know why he would have chosen a specific tree for his collection? I mean, this is you taking the musings of a multi-century-old.
More than that, but could be anything from beauty to importance.
Okay.
And at this moment, I would say, Valymr,
Mhm.
you land.
He looks pretty like white at the moment. Like, is there anyone else around other than James?
there's-
and Faith?
There's party goers queuing up. Your eagle kind of off to talk to this other eagle that was kind of stood at the back, viewing, like clearly not doing the flights, and he just kind of goes and starts talking in giant eagle to this one.
I'll lean between them and whisper, Zedaar's in the Feywild.
What?
Zedaar's in the
Sorry.
Feywild. Zedaar's in the Feywild. She leapt off her eagle.
Leapt.
She leapt off her eagle into the mist. It goes to the Feywild. She's in the Feywild.
Oh. Yeah, I was just talking with Faith here about what is protecting that sanctum. Yeah, only Eladrin and his wife have the key in there, so.
Yeah, I did. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, that was. Wow, I thought of it. I'll admit
I
it.
didn't.
Well, hopefully she finds one of the hedges to get out, or we'll have to send someone in there after her.
Yeah, the eagle that I was riding is going to tell his captain to send someone in there. But wait, you said finds one of the hedges to get out?
So you can step through the hedgerow to exit through back into the plane. There is one small issue, though, is we don't know when she'll do this, because the Feywild is not linear. It happens everywhere, all the time, at any time. She could come out 200 years from now, or 20 minutes ago.
Valymr's going to look around.
I really hope it's 20 minutes ago.
We'll have to see. Zedaar. Back up to you.
Okay.
You're in a field. You're in a bright, sort of pinkish hued field. There's like a light miasma in the air. There's a few thickets of trees around, little bushes, and a dark black shape on the horizon that stretches the entire horizon line, like a thick hedgerow.
Corruption. Oh, okay. I don't see any like trees or groves of trees or anything like that.
No. No, it's almost like you're in like a steppe plain. Have you seen that place in Mongolia where like it's really windy with really luscious green grass
And yeah,
and it really waves? It's like that, but the grass is pink.
I've always wanted to ride my horses into battle in pink steppe grass. Okay, well, drawing on some experience, I will. Is it a, how do I put this? Is it like a hill in terms of like, oh, like maybe it goes like this, but is there a general way that it down slopes or up slopes? Like, is there an
Very subtly. It's not like you're not in a hilly region. You're kind of honestly in plains. You're in a very wide open plain. It's like nothing around you is like. It's hard to tell because you again don't know where you are. But you see a large hedgerow that looks similar to the hedge maze in the distance.
I'm gonna note which direction the hedge maze is. I'm going to take out the golden seed from Bahamut and I'm going to kiss it. And I'm gonna walk around down. I want to go down the decline, like the overall decline. I want to head down because that's where water flows. And I'm going to just speak to Bahamut and just say, Bahamut, I am not sure if you can hear me. I don't really know where I am. I faced my biggest fear and I jumped off of a flying animal. But I thought that this was where Gourd would be, and I'm not seeing any trees. Just in case you can hear me, I don't know if you have caller ID or pay attention to these things, but this would be a pretty good time. I'm asking for your help. Please help, Bahamut.
Okay, give me a religion check, please. At advantage because you've got the seed.
Oh. Ooh, 12.
12?
No, actually, I did it incorrectly. I didn't hit advantage. It's actually 7 + 1, 8.
Oh, re-roll it then.
I forgot. I right-clicked it and it rolled 2 and added it together because I forgot. Much better. 19.
19. You feel a warmth from the seed as you kiss it. And a few moments later, when you finish your prayer, from the seed you see, and in front of you there is a small fairy dragon of brilliant gold. And he just looks at you and says, "The Platinum One has sent me, mistress. How may I be of service?"
First off, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I'm looking for my friend Gourd. He has been turned into a tree, and I have to plant the seed in order to turn him back. Do you know where I can find him?
Oh, certainly not here.
Oh,
Mistress, I think you might be a little bit lost.
very much so.
Okay. You're in the Feywild.
Oh,
If you need a moment, here's a small paper bag, which he just like sort of it pops from his little claw and floats towards you as like a little brown paper bag if you need to hyperventilate.
I hyperventilate into it respectfully.
Respectfully, you're gonna hyperventilate.
Oh, okay, yes.
Now that you mention it.
And if you've never seen a fairy, I don't think Zedaar definitely wouldn't have seen a fairy dragon before. But it's just a little pseudo dragon, little fairy, like fairy-sized dragon but instead of like draconic wings, it's butterfly wings. But this one's like brilliant gold.
Well, I have to leave this place in order to find Gourd, huh?
Are you feeling any signs of panic right now?
You know, I wasn't until you gave me the bag to hyperventilate into, and now I'm scared, yeah.
Okay. He breathes on you. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Can I choose to fail?
Yeah, absolutely. You feel great. Like you feel filled with euphoria as this dragon breathes like a golden dust over your face. That should make you feel better. Follow me.
Thank you. Well, okay.
This is kind of like, because it's like butterfly wings, instead of like a flapping of a dragon, you just hear like butterfly flaps, little sort of things. And like as he flaps, obviously there's like little bits of gold dust. You know, like how like moths are dusty. He's just like glittering starlight dust as he flies off. And he just like begins flying towards the giant deep black hedgerow on the horizon.
Question. Once I leave there, do you know where to find Gourd then?
I don't know who Gourd is, but I've been sent to help you because you seem to be lost.
Okay. Thank you. By the grace of Bahamut and you, what is your name?
Just as a note, you can't currently take reactions.
Perfect.
And every now and then, like, this is a very slow walk over because you feel yourself get really, like, happily distracted by the world around you.
I love this place.
Yeah, it feels real good right now.
Yeah, man,
And,
this is pretty cool.
Every now and then you just stop moving. But you do have enough wherewithal about you to follow this little dragon. The dragon's name is... My name is Coin Purse.
Coin Purse, have you ever thought about potentially hanging out?
My friends call me Percy.
Percy! Do you have a best friend?
I have many friends.
Would you
to
like
be a friend?
Oh, I would love to be your friend. Would you be my best friend?
I will be your friend.
Do you like to hang out in pockets?
I do.
I have so many pockets.
Can I get in your pocket?
Yes, please.
There's him, like, sort of, his size kind of changes a little bit, and he just goes straight in your pocket. And it's just his head poking out.
I show him all of the different pockets. I'm like, well,
he
I've
starts
got
jumping
this
into
one
all the
and this
different
one and
pockets,
this one.
just like, just pokes his head out, and he goes,
Oh.
These are cozy. But we really must be
Yes.
going, and it begins to lead you again.
And I keep following.
Mhm.
I will continue to follow him until we get to the hedge maze. And before we leave the Feywild, I would like to ask Percy, would it be rude if I took some of these the pink grass? Is that like pulling out the earth's hair? Would it know? Would it hurt it?
I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not from here either.
No. Gourd would not want me to pull the grass. I will not.
Sounds like a wise choice. Gourd sounds very nice. When you're ready, just step through the hedge.
Okay. Will you be coming with me, though? Will you still be with me on the other side?
No, I'm sorry. I need to go back now.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Coin Purse, and please tell Bahamut many praises and thank you.
May you have a platinum day. And then he... And as he like disapparates, you just hear like the jingling of coins.
I love him.
And
Okay.
you also see like 4 gold pieces clatter to the ground where he was.
I pick them up and I put them in a separate,
And
like not in my
when
coin
you pick
purse.
them up, you see them. They've actually got his face on with a little thumbs up.
So I have 4 coin purse gold coins.
Yeah.
Okay, writing that down.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, I guess I go through the things. When I come out the other side, I would like to pretend like I accidentally fell off my eagle, and now I can't believe I
Well,
survived through
mhm.
sheer.
We're going to take a big point
Amazement.
break here, and you're going to roll me a D100, and we're going to see which time period you arrive in.
Oh
So, anyway, join us in 10 minutes' time, where we will find out the stunning conclusion of Zaraj in the Faint World, as well as get on with possibly meeting Eladrin the Immortal. So, see you in just a few moments. Hey, come here a minute. Do you need royalty-free music for your TTRPG content, whether that be a YouTube video, stream, TikTok, Instagram post? Don't worry, we've got you covered. My name's Alex. I've been a content creator for almost a decade now, and I've teamed up with my good friend Harry to produce 10 royalty-free songs for you to use in your content completely for free. We've tried to make a whole range of motifs with this album, covering happy music to sad music, to mystery music to combat music. And if this takes off, you know what? We might even make some more. So give the Elendor Chronicles soundtrack Volume 1 a shot. It's free to stream everywhere. And if you want the high quality downloads, you can come over to our Patreon and download them, or you can contact me directly at tabletop@themidgemansworld.co.uk as a creator, and I'll just give it to you for free. That's it, there's no catch. And just to prove it, we've also given you guys a user license agreement to prove that you have the complete perpetual rights to use this content. So enjoy, and good luck on your next adventure. Oh, good day. I'm Martin Sanderson, and I'm the CEO of Avari Military Solutions. We here at Avari know that it doesn't take much to cause problems out on the frontier, whether that be from local pirate raids, neighbouring interstellar powers, or even just an unhappy populace with unreasonable demands. Just what is a small to mid-sized regional power to do when faced with these problems? You look to Avari for your solutions. With open-ended contracts, well-trained personnel, state-of-the-art aerospace forces, and competitive rates, we stand ready to help find the right solution to your problem. So if you have a problem, why not call Avari for your solution? Our operators are waiting to take your call, and consultations are free of charge.
Avari Military Solutions, a solution for your problem.
Avari Military Solutions is not licensed to operate within the Kark and Trade Baronies, the Andes Corps, or any Class A combat zones. AMS is a subsidiary of Omni Radiance Holdings, a family company.
When is a story more than a story? When a tale is more than words on paper? When is an ad more than the script it's written on? In the darkest and deepest annals of our own history, worlds of wonder and splendor burst through like a blister made of hope. From the brain that's wrestled and riddled with madness, a radiant pustule. Writing, art, that's storytelling. That is the true lust of life. You too can dutifully indulge in art. Like fans of the greats. Shakespeare, King, Tolkien, Seuss, Mercer, you too can indulge through Twitch Prime. Get an extended access to a wealth of knowledge with a simple click, an emotion so small that it could endlessly amount to possibilities. Embrace those feelings. Support art. Support the component cast.
Nasal booth.
Everyone heard you say nasal poo.
You give us a countdown, but you come in on like 3 instead of 0.
Because when I go silent is when I've unmuted the mics.
Oh, I don't understand show
See,
business.
this is the first we're learning of this.
It is once. So you do the first. Okay, the first 5. You do 5, 4. When I go silent is when the mics unmute, and it's so you can count and you can set the pace of counting in your head. And 1 is when you can speak again because you're visually there. Welcome to showbiz, people. But it's so fine. Nasal booth. So, Zedaar.
I'm just feeling silly from the gold dust.
Yeah, Zedaar, you suddenly roll out of a hedge. Last thing you remember, you jumped from your eagle trying to get into the secret garden to find Gourd, but something must have gone wrong. You must have hit your head, but suddenly you roll out of a hedge and you look up and you see yourself falling.
Yes! Perfect! Oh, cool.
You also have, just as a note, as a player, you have no knowledge of the Feywild anymore.
That's perfectly fine.
Which means you have no knowledge of Percy, but you do find those coins in your hand with no idea who it is, though.
And I don't know who's falling from the eagle.
No, you see yourself.
I know that that's me.
Yeah. You're like, the fuck?
Oh.
No, well, like, yeah, no, that looks like me.
I see myself drinking the potion on the way down, like, oh.
Well, the thing is like, because you're so attuned to both the ethereal realm and like portal magic, that kind of thing, you feel your other self ethereal jaunt above you, which draws your attention. You're like, I just did that. Am I dead? Like, it's kind of the...
Am I still wearing my pretty dress?
Yeah, you're like... It's like you've just... I mean, there's a couple of leaves on it. It's like you've fallen through a hedge.
Pink grass anywhere?
I don't know about the pink grass, and I didn't take any with me. The only souvenir I have is... Do I still feel silly and giddy from the gold dust?
I think it would have worn off by now.
Do I have, like, little gold dust flecks on my nose? Like a...
You brush your nose, and yeah, there's like glitter.
This will take forever to get out. Okay. I will cast Pass Without Trace and stealth around until I find my party. And if possible, I'd like to do the Homer Simpson come out from the hedge and just be like, hey guys, I totally think that might have been me falling into that misty stuff.
You kind of round out your conversation that you're like, you're currently talking to like a member of like the household staff who's like, yeah, so we'll send in some guides. You might get your lost person in 1 to 2 days. And they're like kind of having that conversation with you when suddenly Zedaar kind of psst, from a shadow in the corner.
Zedaar?
You realize what you did?
No, I'm...
Wait, just get over here. Get out of the bushes.
Okay, I stepped through.
Did you... Were you in the Feywild?
No, I'm not really sure, but I believe I jumped off of an eagle.
You fell off of an eagle. You fell.
I fell, yes.
Yes.
Can I insight check Valymr to see that he's trying to tell me to, like, get your shit together, Zedaar? All right, I got a 19. I think I can surmise that.
You can surmise that.
Yes, I fell. It was terrifying. And then I start picking the leaves off my dress. And now my dress is ruined. Someone should not let people ride these dangerous creatures around.
No, don't turn on everybody.
A panic attack right? You don't do well with heights.
Do I still have the hyperventilation bag?
Yes.
Somehow I got this.
We spent so much time on an airship. She was always so afraid of heights. It was so out of character for her to want to go up on an eagle. I guess she maybe panicked.
Well, for Melion, they probably won't need the household services. And the little it's a halfling half elf who was talking to you. He goes, very well. I'll stand the boys down. But and then just turns to you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're back safe, miss.
Thank you very much, and I will give him 10 gold pieces.
Do you give any of the?
No.
You don't know what they are anymore.
But they're cool and different, and they're in a separate coin pouch from my regular pouch.
True.
So I would have a memory of jumping off the bird, though, right?
Yeah.
Just not my time in the Feywild.
Yeah, it's like you hit the wall, like you hit the portal, and that's the last thing you remember. And then you now also have a memory of seeing yourself do that exact thing.
I should have taken my 1,200 feet of rope. We could have pulled. Anyways. You guys didn't see Gourd, did you?
No.
Maybe I rescued him?
No, I'm afraid not. I think that's just a defense mechanism, not actually what's inside.
Okay, well, let's just hopefully move past all of this. Hope there are no other consequences to my actions, but let's go back to the party. I am so sorry I jumped off of a bird. I just thought, for some reason, I just...
Intrusive thoughts?
Yeah, I just feel like I met someone or something. There's like a... It doesn't matter. It's probably not important.
You have no memory at all?
I watched myself fall out of the sky.
Faith like pays in. That's quite normal for those who aren't of Fey ancestry. The Feywild is so tumultuous that sometimes it tricks the mind. In the same way that, fairies hide in the corner of your eye, or just out of sight kind of thing. It's a similar thing. There'll be a haze there, possibly.
Well, is it possible to not tell anyone that I did this?
Oh, I'm
Patron?
certainly not going to let anybody know that the people that I've been assigned to look after, one of them fell into the Feywild. Nope, that's definitely not coming out.
Super accidentally.
Accidentally. If anybody ever does find out and asks, it's accidentally.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Slippery bird feathers. They should have a caution when slippery when wet sign.
Stick with one story. Didn't you have a panic attack and pass out?
Yes, that's... Yep.
Because you're afraid of heights. It's notorious. It goes with your character. I mean...
I should have... Why would you let me ride an eagle?
You thought you'd got over your fear of heights after so much time on the airship that, face your fear kind of deal, right? That's
some trauma work with you. I thought some full immersion might help.
Immersion therapy.
My doctor, he told me to skydive off the bed.
I thought the eagle would also be able to catch you, but...
Did the eagle make... Wait, yeah, when I watched it happen, did Siraj's eagle seem to give a shit?
It
Or
got
did it just
really
keep flying?
confused that its passion jaunted to the ethereal plane.
Oh, yeah, the eagle didn't left, really.
It was just like...
It was gone.
I had a passenger a moment ago. What the fuck?
The
Anyway.
dude probably just kept flying. He's like, oh shit, this is my last chance. I'm going to get fired now.
Yeah.
That was the last passenger they were going to let on me. I
thought
gotta
she
just
was
go,
the
man. I gotta
Dibujor.
go.
Let's go, let's go bag ready. Oh, I keep touching the brain. It weirds me out.
You think that's bad?
Shall we get back to the party and maybe talk to Selena and see what she's had going on?
Oh, yes.
You make your way back to the royal hall. When the ambassador finds you. Oh, there you are. I've been looking for you everywhere.
Ambassador Phelan, yeah, good. How are you finding the party?
Fine as always. Great news.
Great news that should be spoken quietly.
No, well, yeah, but I mean, only out of those around you getting jealous.
Oh,
In his ever-abundant grace, Lord Eladrin the Immortal has agreed to meet with you.
That is amazing news.
wow.
Please, give us a rundown of etiquette. Sorry,
His-
that's the first thing I went to. I apologize. There's probably more
No,
important things.
No, quite. Well, he's an emperor. Treat him as such, but at the same time, he was a general and a soldier, and as he is a brilliant observer and lover of beauty and the arts, but at the same time, more straightforward sometimes. But as the princess told you, conceptually this will be but one mere minute of his time, which even if the conversation takes hours, his perception of days is an hour, a week is a day. Concept of reality and time to him is stretched, for he is eternal and immortal in will and life.
If I may ask, then what should be the most prominent points, or the key points that we should stick to make sure that it has an effect and it's lasting? So that even if it is a mere moment in his mind, it will echo through his history.
I've spoken to him but once and would not know where to begin. I would use your best judgment. It seems to have worked with everyone so far. And Eladrin the Immortal is the best of us.
Well, Valymr, that means you lead the way.
Valymr is like both like overwhelmed, but then like a grin like goes across his face, and like, my brother would be so jealous right now. Yeah,
believe-
okay, let's go meet the immortal. And do we follow you in, Ambassador, or are we?
I will take you to the private section, and then you will meet Selena, who will take you to her father.
I think it's probably good that Selena would go in with us. Yeah.
Yes. Is Selena going to be trying to join as well?
I don't know. We're not sure she knows yet.
Let's keep that one under wraps then.
That's
Well,
the intent.
I'm going to describe a person to you, and hopefully you might know who they are, but
Ooh.
I caught a very interesting thing occurring earlier. This individual had some regal robes with also kind of like half fancy armor. They had a red hair. That's the most of what I remember from catching, but they handed Solana off a teardrop-shaped opal that was encoded with a message on it shortly before she walked up the stairs and joined the rest of her family up on that second tier.
We call them party favors. They are often used at balls like these for people to share private messages, moments of conversation. The nobles often use it as a fanciful way of asking people for dances, but diplomatically speaking, we use them to parcel information around. It's
What
one of
is
those
the-
things of it's secret in the face of, but it doesn't look unusual to see it happen, which is perfect guise for impertinent conversations. Can you describe the individual that passed the note again for me?
And I'll try to recall. I just was quickly taking notes. The biggest thing that I got was they were wearing some regal robes. They were wearing a more like a more gilded, upscaled armor,
Mhm.
like meant for dress. It wasn't meant for fighting or something like that. And the key thing about them was their red hair. That's what I caught, was the red hair. And they seemed, I don't know, I can't remember. As a player, I can't recall anything else. So if you'd like me to roll to get a little bit more defined, I'll do that. Because I know you explained the armor detail. You said something about the pauldron. It was something specific. I can't remember though.
I don't think I did actually with this individual. I think you got pretty much most of it. It was Solana that I went into the detail of. Red hair. It could be. It sounds like you're describing a member of the Royal Guard.
Yes, it seemed like they were part of her entourage, I would say.
Red hair could be. There's an individual by the name of Lawsan, part of the household guard.
If you point them out to me.
I can certainly try. Let's walk and start heading where we're meant to be. And if you see them, point them out.
Absolutely, that's what I'll do. Do you want to roll a perception check for that?
Absolutely.
Flat 7.
It's too many people. There's a really like fast moving dance going on right now. So, and there's also it's quite a popular one. So there's a lot of people taken to the floor. And interestingly as well, you actually see Solana the Black is dancing. Currently.
Is she a good
Well,
Very,
yeah.
very well.
Who's she dancing with?
Currently looks to be an older gentleman. In like a naval sort of uniform. but it's also again, it's one of those dances where people rotate quite a lot who they're dancing with. But yeah, no, Solana the Black is again. She's got like this. Imagine, like, obviously, because her armor is militarist, and she's wearing black and gold. Her makeup is like black and gold as well. Her hair is like her hair is white, but it is like the only thing that isn't deep black about like what's going on. And she's also wearing like, it also looks like it's heavy enough armor that it would stop sword blows. Like it is, like it's armor. It's not just stylistic leather pauldron kind of thing. It's armor, but she is like dancing like a professional dancer. Like she is like artistically acrobatic with her movement. With a mix of like both humane dexterity and just absolute like strength to be able to lug armor around so fluidly. But you make your way up the stairs. Now you're in this VIP balcony, this royal balcony. It's almost like its own ballroom up here. There's not dancing going on, but it could easily become a dance floor. There's like chairs and sofas, and you can watch the dancing going around. And actually, as you notice it, you never went to the full length of this hall. The balcony that you're on is... There's a staircase going up one side, and then there's a staircase going down the other on the opposite side of the room. And it's actually central to the entire ballroom. And the floor of it is like slightly opaque, like a pearlescent opaque. So it's like almost you can see the people, but you can at least see the shadows of the people dancing below you. And it's almost like with the steps as well. The top of the staircase isn't adjoined. This is actually a levitating platform, or it seems. It's at least made to look like one. But
does it look like it was done that way for like stylish reasons or for like security reasons, or both?
Possibly both.
Do we see Selena?
You do. She stood by a set of double doors.
Would you allow me to make another perception check from this new vantage point?
Yeah, go for it. Slightly higher DC.
Understood. Not much better. 9.
No, still no sight of the individual. But you make your way over to Selena, who then nods to 2 royal guards on duty who open this door, and she just nods to you, turns and begins walking down a corridor that's dimly lit. Like, it's not like it's more the fact of like, this is an area of the house that's only being used right now, or the palace that's only being used right now for like servants, etc. It's like not it's not lit, it's not like well lit like a party. It's like, you ever go like to a big place where there's a party and it's just like, you know, the corridors that you're not meant to go down because they're not as well lit, like whether it like be at school like after hours or something like that. It's just like, oh yeah, that because all the classrooms down that corridor are like, there's no light, they haven't put the hall light on, you're not meant to go down, there's no running in that corridor, you know. It's kind of that vibe, but you are just going along this. She just keeps walking, and it's like, it's honestly, it takes you about 10 minutes to clear this corridor.
And it's dark the whole way.
Not, it's lit because it's light outside. It's like it's
Right.
evening dusk light coming in. So there's like, and like the whole right-hand side of you is windowed, and it's looking out over the gardens again. So you see like the massive gardens, but you are just going clear down an entire wing of the palace, essentially.
Okay. I'm just gonna keep following it.
Any conversation? You keeping quiet then?
Is there anything we should expect? Basically, asking Selena if there's any etiquette and stuff as well. Any advice?
Make a persuasion check.
15.
When my father's upset by something, it's very easy to tell. That's all I will say.
Okay.
I trust your insight.
You haven't seen my wisdom score.
Eventually, you are led down what feels like a mass. You feel like you've cleared to a completely different wing or branch of the palace. Now you enter into what seems to be more residential, private indeed, and it seems you've been taken to like royal rooms. The room that you're currently being brought into is like a rounded hallway. The ceiling is imperceptible as a ceiling because you look up and it's a canopy of trees. Like the wall, the roof is made of leaves. The ceiling of this room is made of leaves. Everything around you is like beautiful white stone, and there is a small like in the center of this hallway. It's like at a crossroads of the house. If that kind of makes sense. There is a small pool of water with a like pavilion bandstandy kind of structure in the center, like a pergolaed archway. And this area clearly connects to other rooms, but on that bandstand sat reading a book whilst gazing almost towards the pool. The pool as well is like sparkling with moonlight. You see an older gentleman, pale skin, long but thinner hair than perhaps what you've seen on Selena or Solana. Crown affixed upon their head. Walking cane like leant up against the marble bench that they're on. They're in like fine, deep green clothing. Very much more like 16th, 17th century than like the more like Rhiannon, which is very medieval style. It's got that sort of, again, it's kind of a bit militaristic. It's got that sort of cavalier look to it with like a ruff and like the hussaring, like the gilding down the side. And then if you were to look at the pattern very faintly, there's like a subtle paisley to it. So like vinage and plant like shapes pattern in like the velvet. And they're just sat reading. This is clearly from all description that you've seen, and also the crystalline crown on their head. You believe this to be Eladrin the Immortal. Selena looks at you. It kind of gives you a look of good luck and exits.
I'll give it a look of, I'm going to need it.
She kind of gets that, but leaves you three to it.
I look forward to seeing you afterwards.
Right. She leaves. Eladrin the Immortal does not speak. They just continue to read and every now and then look at the pond below them.
Is there steps up to the like pavilion-y thing?
Yeah, very, very subtle. It's almost like oh, what do you call it? Where it's like rocks in water, and you can stepping stones. It's like marble stepping stones. They're ever so slightly. Each one elevates, but the water like runs between cracks between them.
He's gonna take his mask off.
I'll take a knee at the bottom of the stepping stones and bow my head and say, it is the greatest pleasure of my life to meet you, Your Grace.
He closes the book and puts it down on the bench, takes their cane and stands, and puts their hand out to present a ring.
I'll get up and kiss the ring.
Okay.
Does he present it the same to the rest of us, in a sense?
No, only to Valymr. I think it's like a case of he recognizes that Valymr is a vassal, and that the others. He just the first thing he looks back to the pond and it's like watching the fish. He says, "What do you know of Mooncarp?" Also, this is the first time hearing his voice. It's very wispy, like composed, but struggled.
I rolled a 20 for what do I know about Mooncarp. Dirty 20.
Like, you've actually heard of Mooncarp. They are they're more common in Kaiteng, but they're essentially a type of silvery. There's two types normally. Well, one singular type, but they're a silvery scaled fish that mate for life. The males are like a jet black color, and the females are like a silvery white. The most interesting thing about them is that they don't when they are first born, they are born as both colors and thus both sexes, and only on a lunar eclipse or a full moon do they go through a ritual, like a magical ritual in which they take to essentially their gender. And no one has ever worked out how or why they sort of or how or why they know, but it's kind of like there's a level of mysticism to them. But it's interesting because it's just like they're a slightly magical fish that mates for life. And actually James would know as well that they are very, very valuable in medicine and medicinal purposes, because they can secrete and create a gem-like pearl that can be either used as a pearl or a diamond.
It's like magical medicine.
Your Grace, it is known that they're originating from Kaiteng, and I guess the biggest thing about them, aside from mating for life, is their birth. The birth is both colors, and therefore both sexes. And after some time, during a full moon, a ritual occurs that has yet to be explained or understood, where they would choose a color, and they would choose their sex. Or the choice is made for them. Again, we don't know. They're also highly valuable and prized for their medicinal purpose of their diamond pearl hybrid secretions.
Very factual.
But I believe that you're looking for a more symbolic answer. And in that I find that they represent the balance in life, and that at some point you need to choose and tip the scale in one way.
He turns and he looks at you.
And after we make that choice, we have to live with the weight of it. And that burden could be hard for anyone to bear, even those that have had a millennia to learn about its weight.
Quite profound. I'm impressed. Many of my scholars would focus on the healing or the symbolism of matrimony. Not but one has understood its true meaning. You in that regard are quite unique.
I will deeply, deeply bow at that honorific statement. I am very honored by your words, Your Grace. My name is James Augustine Willoughby.
You are Valymr Kensek,
I am, Your Grace.
and you are the one they call the Knight.
Yes, Your Majesty, my name is Zedaar. But you may call me the Knight, whatever you wish.
Well, the Knight. He kind of steps towards you down the stepping stones. He's using the cane, and there is like a bit of a strength, like he's fighting it, like fighting walking, but he still holds himself really, like, elegantly. He goes right towards your face with a hand and brushes your fur, and the little glitter of gold leaves your fur. It seems you have found... He just plays with the glitter. It seems you've been for a wander in the garden. I hope you enjoyed yourself. He then turns and goes back to the bench. Please, join me. There's like a bench here either side, so you guys can sit one side and he's on on the other. I like it in here. I grew tired of the fancifulness of the balls. Sometimes I like to explore them. Sometimes I like to show my face, but others, especially in times so important, doesn't feel as right. So where shall we begin? We have a lot to discuss, I'm sure.
Your Grace, I would ask what you know of how we came to enter your empire? Have you been informed of the circumstances?
You came auspiciously as ambassadors, attempting to stop this repeating cycle of a conflict. There is a ceasefire that was called at your behest that ends today, in fact. But it has been brought to my attention that you are here on an ulterior motive.
We have multiple goals, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Most pressing, though, is the war in which you speak of. Your enemies in the Rien have weaponized the plague from which you suffer from, accelerated its spread, it's accelerated its lethality, and they're threatening to unleash it upon the elves and the Eladrin of this land to devastating effect. Having spoken to the Emperor of the Rien, he seemed reluctant to want to use it, so was convinced to give some time to me to attempt to end the conflict before unleashing such a weapon.
You see, because he's sat with like both hands currently on his cane as he like sort of he's just looking at all three of you, trying to gauge a reaction. Valymr, make an insight check.
"17.
It's been well noted between all of the Celestial Eladrin that you've met so far, or those of Eladrin the Immortal's blood, that they have heterochromia. Eladrin the Immortal has a dark red and a dark green eye. When you start to mention like this, the plague and the biological weapon, his dark red eye kind of flickers brighter red. It's very subtle, but there's a kind of a little dread, kind of a bit of a feeling of dread from just it happening. Not like overly like that you are suffering from frightened, but it's like, you know, like that the in 40K there's transhuman dread.
Yeah.
It's kind of that. It's kind of like one of those things of like something there is not quite right just happened.
Basically what Valymr has been feeling ever since he first walked into this little area.
Yeah, but it got a lot worse. And yeah, it's like you just feel that glow from him, man. But
is that something that's affecting me?
It doesn't feel like it's like magically affecting you. It's just like one of the things of like. So one thing that you know about Eladrin, or everyone kind of knows about Eladrin, is that their emotions change with the season, and they are very emotionally driven. So that might have been a flicker of emotion seeping in. So, what are you proposing I do, faced with this plague or weapon? You come as ambassadors of the Rien, but you speak as though they are a third party. What am I missing here?
As you know, my lord, I am not of the Rien. I come as an ambassador of them in circumstance only. I happen to be in the right place at the right time to learn of this heinous evil and used whatever means I could to bring this knowledge to you. I am not an ambassador of the Rien in the same way that ambassadors of nations talk to one another. That's not a role that I have or aspire to.
Your Grace, if I may add on, we came here as ambassadors in the hope of negotiating a sort of peace, for the sake of both your nations, not just for one side. I came here separately, personally, using my ambassadorship to set out on a goal of finding a countermeasure for this present threat and danger, to help keep your people safe, because we don't know what can happen further after things get, after you all get exposed, if you get exposed. And to go further than that and find the root cause of your very illness and find a way to alleviate those that are suffering of it from its effects. Outside of that, and the reason why you might see us acting as third parties is because we also have the seals of Elendor themselves being threatened by the crystalline dragons of old, ages past, and the cults that are trying to bring them back and into power.
Can I do an insight check when the word cult is mentioned? I don't know, he has a bit of a distaste for cults.
We saw for our very selves a crystalline void dragon rip through the sky.
Zethacris was his name, as we've come to believe. Previously, we have also. And previously, we've also encountered and slain the dragon Xenopharius.
Topaz in color of their kind.
So, 3 ambassadors heralding information from the Rien. One with a drive to stop it, one with a drive to cure it. Also happen to know the names of Brothers 6, much long and gone from time pre-pleasant. most enthralling. We stand at a conjuncture. Auspicious. I should have seen the signs earlier.
The duty does not fall solely on you, Emperor.
Yet I am the only one remaining with memory of it. Truly. And even then, some of it be fabled.
If I may be so bold as to offer, you have 3 willing parties here, willing to help shoulder that burden.
My dear child, whether you offer it or not, you're going to have to shoulder the burden. There is no way that the fates get you this far without a plan for you all. He stands up. You bring me quite many questions. I am not the young man I once was. I wished to remain here in the shade. And you look up for the first time. And actually, like, under the pergola thing that you're on, there's like an open sky, like, possibly like a projection of, or a major image of. So it looks like clouds and sunshine. But, oh, sorry, it's clouds and moonlight, actually, like downward under. The reason I picked this spot is because it reminds me of home. A place I long for that I can never go. A place I fought for that I can never see again. I sense good intentions within all of you. So, what would you have me do? First and foremost.
Your Grace, I would hope that you could see this war at an end. I know how long it has raged and how devastating it has been for both sides. But I fear that this escalation would lead to such destruction as that there would be no return. And especially as the seals are threatened and some already are broken. I feel both your own forces and those of the Rien will be needed, not against one another, but against this threat that could tear our world apart.
Oh, but if it were that simple. Those faithful in the Rien. It is they who have led us here. We sit, like you say, at the very realms at stake, with the seals destroyed or lost, or at risk. Tell me, Valymr, out of those you've learned, those destroyed, if any, how many are in the care of the human emperors and lords of the East?
What was that question again?
He said, how many of the seals that you know to be destroyed or threatened, how many of them are in the eastern half of Longreach? How many of them are Rhiannon or in the Lagrung's land or Nardathel? How many of those under threat are over there?
I believe that there is one. Well, there's the shroud that is under protection. There is a heart, I believe, or one part of the hearts that might be broken or fixed. Sorry. It seems that there is also I need the list of them.
Mm.
The one that was broken that I spoke of is in Lagrung's land.
Oh, the Lifestone, sorry, not.
It is the daughter of the Duke of Lagrung's land is the seal that was broken. Others are the Blade of Equilibrium. I don't know it to be under immediate threat, but these dragon attacks, which your land has mercifully been so resistant against, those in the Rian are not quite so lucky. And these dragons are, it seems to be, they are looking for these seals to compromise them.
Exactly. Whilst the many lords and ladies of the eastern half of Longreach may rule with good intention, or I speak in generalities here, they cannot be trusted to give in or to not give in to power.
Are you saying that the Rhiannon Empire has purposely been tapping into the power of these artifacts and thus weakening the seal itself?
Not necessarily. But I recall the story of the young girl, Joanna. Lord Ichabod believes that he and only a handful know just how she was created. But felt it when it happened. So, I have an idea of what happened. And whilst Lord Ichabod has most certainly the best intentions of any lord, he still fell victim to the allure of power. What you see around my palace, my home. Conceptually, yes.
I see a balanced communing with nature around your palace.
It's grand and gaudy and flagrantly wealthy looking. It, to some, is a showcase of power. But it is a facade. Whilst I am old and ill and incapable of mostly running this empire from day to day, I have not stepped down from the throne. I do not even trust my daughter or granddaughter the escape of the allure of power just yet. I have had lifetimes to grapple with the concept myself. This plague is just yet more proof of why I can't stop this fight. Not without a better confidence instilled in those other lords. They wouldn't understand what it is they are defending or protecting or preventing if it hit them in the face. They have not the years of toil and wisdom to be trusted anymore. My dear departed friend, whose faith was misplaced in the societies they left behind, the societies whose faith took from me my own flesh and blood, and the blood of so many of my people. You think I trust them to just apologize, stop, and be done on the simplest of words? Children, I've lived long enough to see both sides of that coin. Whilst I am malleable to listen, right now, even with the risks, stopping this conflict is something I cannot do blindly. He then takes a moment and kind of coughs. Quickly make like an insight check as well, all of you.
You might have to make one for Siraj.
20.
18.
Oh. So not on a Zedaar. That's a 12. Actually, what's her perception bonus? Let me check.
Which probably is quite high.
She has to have a minimum of a 13 as a
No, it's
ranger.
6. So it's 18. You will notice this then. You notice that like luminary flickers between both the green and the red eye fluctuated through various points of that exposition, where you could see hints of Eladrin's emotions possibly getting the better of him in various places.
Your Emperor, you had posed the question to us of what we would have of you. I think it'd be better for us to ask, what would you have of us? You have the wisdom of centuries, and I honor that and respect that. As you just said, you've seen both sides of the coin. And we don't believe in the naivety of just mere words bringing about peace between the nations. That was never our intention. It's why we sought to come and kneel and bow at your feet and in your presence. Because we understand through the meager means that history has been written down of the slight that has happened between those that follow the king that never was, and you and your people. So as these ambassadors that are acting with our own personal goals in mind, and as technical third parties seeing a greater threat to the world, what would you have us go and negotiate with the Rien? Something of amicable terms that you know they have a chance to agree on. I am still going to stick to my goal of trying to help you and your people and also create the countermeasure. But
My lord, I don't doubt for a moment the justness of your cause. I only worry about the cost. We saw a room in which a doctor was experimenting on a young wood elf girl, accelerating the shadow lung in her, and we saw the effects of that. And now they threaten to release that upon your entire realm. But the toll would be beyond belief.
You are afraid.
Yes.
I'll let you in on a secret. So am I. Every day. not stop, I will not make the first move. But if it can be arranged, I will listen to whatever opinions and thoughts can be drawn on the greater problem. But stopping the war first? I cannot give you that. You spoke of the 6.
Yes, my lord.
They are one of many ancient enemies. They were lucky. Unlike many who fought in the wars before, way back, imperceptibly back in time. They were of the few that escaped banishment. We hunted them. But like their now Atrian cousins and their chromatic counterparts, the Dragonkin were not bound by the same rules as, say, the Fiends and the Davers and Fae of old. Their goddess was, but her servants did not go with her. Too powerful and independent and tied to the fabric of most of the magics that allowed this summit to take place. To hear that name again. Tell me, when you first laid eyes on this voyage dragon, what were they like?
Angry, endless,
Maddening.
an assault on one's very mind and senses. I imagine at this point Zaraj would explain her experience.
Yep.
Um,
Yes.
yes, quite like that, what she said.
We did not get any kind of conversation from Zethacrest. It was we saw him from miles away while on our airship, but with Xenopharius, he landed upon the airship and we fought him and we spoke to him before he died. He was only recently brought back to this plane and had no memory or awareness of how it happened.
Those we couldn't expel, that were too risky to let roam, to integrate. We entrapped them deep within the fabric of the plane itself. All but one of them were trapped. One of our greatest failings. They vowed vengeance. The last time I saw I'm trying to get this the right way around. Xenopharius, or which one's the one that you killed?
Xenopharius was Topaz.
Xenopharius
Yeah,
got killed.
Zethacris, yeah, Last I saw Last I saw Zethacris, they vowed vengeance. But they were just crystalline then. You said there was aspects of the void, something infernal about them. Too.
May I show you?
Please.
Was it infernal or abyssal?
I can't. I
don't remember. I mean, it's
think
Rod.
special.
I think so.
Scary mind crap. I'm going to
Well, that was something else as well.
minor illusion to show.
That is not purely the power of Tiamat. That is... They have made a deal like... This is grave, grave news. I have been idle too long. I was wrong to retire. How could I have missed all of this? As he says, like, his red eye just fluctuates with a like almost burning flame behind it. I will meet in secret with whomever you choose to gather. I will not end my war. I will not change face. But I believe this precipice we find ourselves looking onto, with this fissure that's forming below, it's bigger than everything here. I have the beauty that I am not of this world. But I fear. The fear I mentioned, I live with every day. Is the fact that I care so deeply for it.
That's very apparent.
And am often powerless to help it. He turns to you, James. I thank you for offering to help with this affliction. But all the pain and suffering is worth every moment I remain here. Every moment I see my daughters and grandchildren and great-grandchildren take breaths unlabored. Makes my labored breath more worth it.
If you would still allow it, I would like to alleviate your people of those same pains, if I may.
You may try.
With all the years I have left.
I hope they are many.
As many as yours have been. I'll smile with that one. I don't know if I'd be as strong as you bearing the weight you have for as long as you have. That is why you are the immortal.
I wish I wasn't the only.
Is that possible?
It was once. Again? Well, if it were to happen again, were there more than just myself? Or the very few I know of. If the truly immortal ones were to return, well, that would see to the end of all things. So whilst I dance in the light of the memory of it, I would never wish it again.
My lord, there is another reason why we came here. Another more personal reason. A friend of ours took to the bark, and we were informed that he was in your private sanctum.
Purchased by myself, yes. don't know what it was, but something drew me to that tree.
Fate.
Perhaps. It had a kinder aura than many of the others.
May I request that he be returned to his previous self and allowed to live as Dillian and he once was? As you mentioned before, we would not have gotten this far if the fates had not ordained it so, and his fate up until the time he was turned into a tree was entwined with our own.
Make a persuasion check, Valymr.
Lady. That's an 18, but I'm also going to use luck.
Keep going out of focus. There we go.
25.
Okay. So, I rolled a 10 plus 14. For someone so young, you speak of the fates like a wizened master. I will do you this. I will release him to you, should you bring this together. This meeting of the powers that be. And I will let you visit him before then. But I shall only return them to you if the convergence we now face risks the end. If it peters out, I will know that it is as the fates intended. But I am wise enough to know that if this really is the end, then we will need all the help we can get. In the past, a halfling friend of mine would have flipped a coin at this moment and laughed about the fates. I haven't seen her in as many moons as the last I saw my platinum friend, or even my own lord. But one of my closest friends, even without action of their own, has become my greatest enemy. So look on this not as a kind gesture. Look on this as a necessity that I am making. A calculation.
Understood.
I'll do my utmost to bring Godric to the table.
It is more than him that you must seek, but it would be a start. Walk with me. I must show my face to the guests gathered. I feel it would be significant. For this realm and my family to see you three by my side as I do.
As you wish, my lord.
The days are long and unending, and the dance is not yet done. Now once more, Iolus must seek the sun. He picks up his cane and starts walking towards essentially the way that you guys came from.
I'll offer him my arm.
He does not take it.
No.
He will walk alone. And even though labored, he does carry himself. As you exit the door, you see Selena get up very, very quickly, like she's been listening in. Almost like a child trying to listen into her father's conversation, which is exactly what it is. And instead of scolding or anything of the sort, Ladrin the Immortal simply puts out his hand to his daughter, who is still kind of half crouched where she was up against the door. Picks her up and links arms with her. Brushes her leaf-like hair around her ear and says, "We have a ball to attend to, my dear." And arm in arm, they walk down the corridor ahead of you. And with that, I think we're going to end tonight's session early there, ever so slightly early. About 10 minutes early, mainly because we're probably at a time where we're going to get very close to being able to draw everyone else in. We've got a little bit of the scene here to finish off, and I feel like it would be a good place to bring the rest of the party back in. Also,
there's only 2 players here right now.
Exactly, there's only 2 players here right now. So we'll go from there next time. So all I have to do, technically there's 3 because you're here, Roach.
I'm not playing.
Omnisciently. And there are some in
Not
chat,
fun.
perhaps. But join us next time where we'll be back with more of the Elendor Chronicles next week. All I've got left to do today, however, is to say thank you to the people gathered. I have been joined by the wonderful Ghibli Jam, Lord Lambert, Kaida Odder, Commissar Roach. I've been Midgeman. We have been the Component Cast. Join us tomorrow for our Lancer game and on Wednesday for our Cyberpunk game. But for more of this, you'll have to wait till next week. See you next Monday, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.